to rise at the end of it, you'd need to say Nafisa. I would say Maimuna, or I would say Fatima, and that's the equivalent of hi in Hausa greeting.
Whoa,
so
you do this right now?
Diana.
Sierra.
But I have an A at the end.
Sierra. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, Steve?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell.
Because we're on the road to 100K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to today's video, which is Hausa Greetings and Etiquette Part 1. I'm here with the beautiful Maimuna, who is dressed in her Friday kaya. I think she looks a little bit like a Yoruba lady because this is traditionally, I think, a Yoruba lace. Wana kaya Yoruba ni? Ko kaya Hausa? So she's dressed as a Yoruba girl today. I'm dressed as a Hausa girl, yes. But we're all Nigerian, so regardless, whoever you are, you're very welcome to join us today. And we are going to be teaching you a few simple Hausa greetings and etiquette. Okay, so the first thing, we're going to start with informal greetings. So the informal way of greeting, obviously in all languages you have formal and informal greetings. For example, in English you might say hi, which is informal to somebody you know, and you might be more formal perhaps with somebody you don't know and say something like good morning. So informal Hausa greetings. The first thing is when you are being informal, obviously you're going to be informal with people who you're familiar with, either your family, your friends, or people of the same age as you. In Hausa culture, it is a culture, it's an African culture that respects, I think all African culture respects seniority, and Hausa culture is no exception. You must respect your seniors, you must respect your elders. Therefore, you wouldn't use any of these greetings with people who are older than you unless perhaps you know them, they're family members or people that you know very well. So the first thing is, if you want to say hi to somebody, for example, if I want to say hi to Walida, I would just, it's very simple. All you have to do is just say her name. Now the important thing here is the intonation. So if I come in and I want to say hi, I would say Mimina, and that's it. And she would say, she doesn't call me by my name, so obviously my name is Nafisa, she doesn't call me my name. What do you call me? Auntie Nafisa. So she would say Auntie Nafisa, but because I'm older than her, she will greet me in a formal way. But if she was my mate, I would say just her first name, and she would respond by just calling me my first name. Simply, if it's somebody who is kind of your mate or somebody you know, you just call them the first name. For example, you say Nafisa, but the important thing is the intonation. So obviously my name is Nafisa, but if you say Nafisa to somebody, your intonation doesn't really sound like a hello. So you would need to rise at the end of it. You'd need to say Nafisa, I would say Maimuna, or I would say Fatima, and that's the equivalent of hi in Hausa greeting.
Whoa, so you do this right now?
Diana.
Sierra.
But I have an A at the end.
Sierra.
Diana. I feel like Diana.
I think it's the name is said, but you still have to put that pitch to it. I think that's it.
Okay.
So it'd be, oh, my name is like one.
Yeah.
Dion.
Okay.
Dion.
Oh.
Yeah. Sierra.
No.
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 Yo, we trying. I think that's how. I think that's a kind of like the way though. Like, I think I'm in a loop somewhere though.
Yeah, you said it, but
Sierra.
not the air, just the A.
Sierra. Siwa.
I don't know.
What you saying? Just the A. Take everything else out. Don't
Sierra.
say See ya. See ya.
You crazy. Come on.
That ain't it.
These your voice at the end of the person's name, whatever the person's name. Let's use, for example, an English name. If somebody's called Jessica, I wouldn't just say Jessica. That sounds a little bit serious. It's not too much of a hello. So I would say Jessica, and then she would know that I am greeting her like, as a hello. So I'm just going to show you with somebody who is more my age, and we're just going to practice with that. So, okay, another way of an informal greeting, specifically if you are speaking to just generally a group of people, is sanunku. Right. And this is just basically, this can be, it's actually neutral, it can be formal or informal, and you literally just, if you walk in and see a group of people or you're walking past, it's also very impolite to just walk past a group of people without saying something. Whether you know them or not, you should acknowledge people's presence. So by doing this, if it's a group of 2 or more people, you would just say sanunku, and that's enough as a hello. Okay, so moving on to formal greetings. Now we have 2 types of formal greetings. Probably you guys may be familiar with. Obviously there is a good morning and a good afternoon and even a good evening. So let's begin with how to say good morning. So the way to say good morning in Hausa in a formal way is ina kwana. Okay, this is just widespread. It's very common across all of northern Nigeria, perhaps in other Hausa-speaking countries, definitely in places like Niger, northern Cameroon, and all the other Hausa-speaking places. Ina kwana is the formal way of saying good morning. However, even though it's formal, it can actually be used with people you know. It's something that you would say to your mother, it's something that you would say to your father, it's something that you would use to people that you know. Now, here is where it gets, we get a bit of cultural etiquette. If I say ina kwana to somebody who is my mate, it's absolutely fine for me to say it either sitting or standing. However, in Kano, like I said to you before, seniority is very important, respecting your elders. So somebody like Maimuna, for example, is obviously younger than me. So she cannot just say to me ina kwana standing. It's extremely discourteous, especially if you're from a good family, to show that you have a good upbringing. It's very important. You need to courtesy, whether you're a girl or a girl.
She got a courtesy. Okay.
No, I understand that. And just like for the men, right, in a lot of households, they are taught to never sit down and shake a man's hand. You stand up, you shake his hand, you look at him in his eye to let him know that you're serious and you have this confidence about yourself and you have manners. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't there a certain hand that y'all use to shake?
Well, that's different.
You can't use
the different thing with the hand gestures is that, like when you're shaking a man's hand and it's like palm like this, boom, like this is like we're even, we're equal. You know what I'm saying? But they got some men that would take your hand and flip it over to show them to show dominance. You know what I'm saying? And they have other gestures like that. You gonna be flipping the wrist and all that.
Flip it back. I wasn't saying me.
No, I feel you. And
I don't think I have shaken men's hands before.
Yeah. So and they have a lot of different hand gestures that you gotta be, you know, knowledgeable of. I don't think a lot of people are knowledgeable. They just shake hands, fist bumps, and they get going. But in real business-minded situations, some people do look at that when they're meeting you, and they'll judge you based off how you shake hands.
Right.
So.
Right.
You need to courtesy and you need to bow down. Now this doesn't contradict or this doesn't conflict with the Islamic principles of sajda. So there is no position of salah that you repeat when you're greeting somebody, but it's extremely discourteous to greet somebody who's older than you by standing. So you do need to courtesy and you need to bend down and greet a person by saying ina kwana. So Maimuna. Lafia lo. So the response to that is lafia lo. Ina kwana just means good morning, and lafia lo means it's a response, and that just means fine. So literally ina kwana means how is the morning, like where is the morning, and then lafia lo, lafia means fine, so lafia lo means very well. Okay, so that's the first way of saying good morning. Now another way of saying good morning is one which is used by the Kano royal family. People who are not from the royal family or don't have any royal affiliation are probably unaware or probably unfamiliar with this. But obviously my mother and my grandmother are from the royal family, and I was raised to, in fact in my family it's very common. This is the most common method of greeting, more than inakwana. In fact, some people are like, inakwana is kind of a little bit colloquial. So anybody who has any royal affiliation or comes from the royal family, any of the emirate families, will be familiar with
Barkadas.
Barkada Asaba, and that means good morning. And the response to that, there's two responses. So the first response,
Barkadas.
so I would say Barkakade. One more time.
Barkadas.
Barkakade. Now, Barkakade means Barakad Asaba means good morning, very formal. Barakakade is just the simple response. The second response you can give to Barakad Asaba, and this is used especially in the Kano Emir's palace, is Muna Lafia, but that response is a question that requires another response.
Oh.
So, Mimana,
Barkadas.
Muna Lafia. Now she has replied, I've said, how are we? Because obviously we're using the royal we, because obviously that's how you do in Kano royal family. So my response is Muna Lafia, and her response is Lafia, which means fine. Okay, so moving on.
That was it? But that was getting to the nitty gritty, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
she started talking about the royal family.
man, we was about to get to some good stuff though. Man.
Yeah, that was a good introduction. I feel like we went a little bit more in depth. Like, it's still an introduction to HAUSA, but I feel like we went a little bit more into depth because she started talking about the royal family, and we haven't touched on that yet.
Yeah, a lot of similarities. Basically because we have gestures as well where we do things to greet elders, to show respect in certain environments. And there's never a time where we just gonna just disregard an elder, especially that's close to like a grandmother or grandfather, and then we just don't have no respect. Like, that's not our nature. So a lot of similarities when it comes to showing respect to your family and to elders in general.
Yes, definitely. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our reaction request form is in our description box below. We'll see you soon. Peace.